today with another Arizona drag racing legend and one of our newest members of the Arizona Drag Racing Hall of Fame, Pat Sardina. Many of you know Pat from different racing and different venues and different things he's done over the years. He's been involved with a lot of people and a lot of cars, and the loving nickname of Pat Man. So I've known Pat for 1 or 2 years now, and I'm sure he has a great story to share with us today. Hi, Pat.
Hi, Chris. Hi, everybody. Thank you for the invite. This is wonderful. It really is.
So I've only known you as a car guy.
Yeah.
And it's your passion. How did it start?
Sister Marianne married a hot rod guy, and she'd take me to school in the KR 500 Shelby 428, I'll never forget. And she was a rev it up, spin the tires kind of gal. So 76, I think it was, I got out of grade school, going to high school, take me to Beeline Dragway, the first race out there. And her husband had his car, and hearing the noise, you're just, oh my God. 77, 78 comes this deal called the high school drags. So my neighbor had a Nova, and they go, hey, let's go to the high school drags. I was just excited to go to the high school drags, infatuated with the high school drags. So we go out to a midnight drag, light our way through it that I was old enough to drive, get in their car, run 1490s. It was a turbo 400, put it in first gear, let it shift by itself, bang, bang. Easy deal to everybody, not me. I was hooked. First burnout, smoke in the car, the whole thing. Come home, buy a Nova for $200. The same guy's helping me. We put a little motor together, go out there, and we end up winning class. They called it class then at high school drags. They had 3 or 4 different ones. Winning the fast class. So we're like, hey man, we're somebody. Got a trophy, go home. The next year, I was working for Chris Thompson at the service center by then. I was a parts counter guy, so hanging out with all the racers. That's when you meet the racers and you see all the racers. You're like, hey, I want to rev them up. So, I want a bigger tack.
So with that, this is when I realized that you were, you still didn't have a driver's license yet, and you were driving a vehicle.
Driving a vehicle, delivering parts in my truck for this company. That's how easy it was.
Without a driver's license.
Without a license. So the next year I built the hot rod car and went out, and by then we had a deal called King of the Hill. So we run, you win that one, get a big trophy. Then you run across to everybody, and my good buddy Dwayne Ott, I broke out in the final. We're still friends, and I was hooked. Come home and just started racing.
So you kind of grew up on the west side, a lot of good influences, the Goff family,
yep.
You had Ed Smith and all the different places. You were known to be the guy that you were just always wanting to learn.
I always wanted to go. You had Billy Knobloch had a high revver you'd go listen to. The Freeman brothers lived right up the street. You'd go and just listen to them rev and just drive your bicycle over it, because I still ride a bicycle. If I went to work, I could use my truck, but I had a bicycle. So everywhere in Glendale, you rode a bicycle. And it'd be neat to go hang out just Saturday, watch them work on it, and then hear them go. Then they'd go off to the track. I wasn't on the track because I didn't have a car yet, so I had to put the car together.
So when you finally became legal and you could drive across state lines, you got more and more involved with racing. What was the first big race you won? I mean, the high school stuff you did really well on, but what do you remember?
The first real good race I won, we were going to Orange County a lot because hanging out with the Lopers in his funny car and all, you need to go hang out with them and go. And we ran into a guy, Sam Hughes, Cigar Sam. And that dates me into Sam, but he had a black Nova that was faster than my Nova, and we went over there and won a 32 funny car race, and Sam had said, hey kid, you've been driving your little car, run this car, and boom, we went out there and won a race. And I wasn't even out of high school yet, and I'm like, wow, this is cool. It's a consistent car, run up and down the racetrack. Then I came back and put my car together in 1980, graduate high school, and I won that $1,000 race at Speed World. First big check, $1,000, and like, whoa. Same like Brian was saying, you check $1,000 in your hand, you're shaking because, $100 then was a whole paycheck. So that was big time.
They paid you too much.
They paid me too much at that time. That was racing. That hooks you. You're hooked.
So you've been around, and there's probably nobody more diehard of a racer and a race fan that I know than you. And I've often told you that if you were to write a book about your life, it would be like most people think it was a fiction.
Yeah.
We know it to be true. There's so many different directions and stories we can tell I'd like you to, to share, but you built your first real race car.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a Nova?
It was a Nova, yep. Those little block Nova, fast steady race engines. Eddie Kennemer helped me with a super nice engine. And we run a clutch in it. Everybody had clutches. They thought, the automatics were just evolving. And I bet I broke every Muncie in Phoenix. We were at the wrecking yard every weekend buying a transmission. But we had fun. And that was another thing. My buddy Chris Thompson says, you got to run automatic, be consistent. Put a power glide in it, boom, start winning races. So, big idea.
Where your first racing was out at Phoenix Dragway?
So we raced Beeline, and then we raced the Midnight Drag, and back then we'd leave there, got talked into going from there to Mel Larson's and race a day race on a Sunday. So we did all this double hitting deal just to run.
Stop and cruise central on the way there.
And just raced. You come home Sunday night, you're spent, you put all your stuff away, and I gotta go to do work, gotta go to school, gotta do whatever. But that was racing.
So when you were young, tell me about your mom and your dad. What did how did they support? What did they?
I grew up in a house where you had a roof over your head, clothes on your back, food on the table, like anybody else did. And my mother was just supportive. I had 2 older sisters. My father was an electronics engineer, and he wanted me to be in that so bad. And he had told me if you're going to be a bum, be an educated bum, so I had to go to school. And he supported it. He goes, you want to go race? Go race. You want to do this? Go do it. Just go have fun and do it. Just do it. And I did it. Just went off and drove off with my little truck and trailer, went racing.
Did they ever come out the race?
My father did a couple times, and Marianne brought him, and he was impressed, seeing, hearing her name and seeing the car and hearing the noise and all, but like I'm telling you, he was into electronics, so I should have got more in electronics because I'd have probably been a Dead and Bear guy today or something, or a Biondo.
You've partnered with a lot of people, and a lot of people mentored you along the way. I know the story of Douglas Herzog and Pat Jackson.
Doug was dating my sister, and Pat Jackson was PJ, so they took me kind of under wing. And more into the bracket races, so we'd race Phoenix, Tucson. We went to Bowling Green, Kentucky, Woodburn, Oregon, Vegas. I couldn't tell you how many times I was sleeping in a truck in Vegas, and raced every weekend, raced. And then come Firebird in '83, then it all changed.
Your cars, you built all your own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You did really well with on a budget because that was made big money back then.
Yep.
You graduated into helping people with Robin Schalar.
Okay.
And the different dragsters, but I think the first big time car I remember was Harold Stanfield.
Harold Stanfield had a real fast car in Arizona. He was a California Pro Gas Association car. So he had saw me driving all these cars. He approached me one day and says, hey, I want to watch my car go down the track, run it. And him and Robert Nerez built the car. And so I get it there. It was at Phoenix, actually. And I made the first lap. And back then, you just get in there and put your helmet on, had a T-shirt on, go. I ran 990. I was like, whoa, this is fast. Come back, couldn't get enough of it, And he was impressed with the way I drove it and all. And that's how I met Harold. And then I went to work for John Loper. And Nerez was building Harold a car, and John put in a big word for Harold, saying, let him drive that brand new car. And that's when the '82 Trans Am, when I got driving that car. And it was way ahead of its time. It really was. We had big horsepower, tried to run 990 in it, first lap down the track, warming up, runs 870 or something. I'm like, ooh, what do we do? Now we got a Supercom car. We're racing with dragsters. Of course, door slammers and dragsters never mixed back then. The dragsters prevailed, but one good thing I can remember out of all that, we raced all around. Harold was a racer. We raced Wednesday night, tested at Firebird, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, whatever, we raced. He was like WJ. We were everywhere. But one good thing we did is we stayed together and raced and stayed just till he had passed. We were still friends when he passed, and a lot of laps in that car. But I remember one good thing. John Loper was sitting there one day, and Firebird was opening in '83, soft opening. They call it what was it, Super Bowl drag racing. He got on his phone, he picked the phone up and goes, Alan, Loper, I got a car and a kid. We're going to come out. We're going to be in that deal. Click. You're going to go race with them. He told Charlie Allen I was coming. and we got out there and did it. That's how JL was. I mean, he had influence on people, but we were under the lights first time. You walk in and go, wow, yeah, there's a lot more people looking at me. So had a lot of fun,
So you've been to a lot of different tracks. You've raced a lot of different type of stuff, but you've also had a lot of mentors along the way in different aspects of racing. Bob DeYoung and others that.
Joe Faulkner, Bob DeYoung, Billy Knobloch, God, and countless names. Jim Basco, what a guy, great guy. The late Mark Nyber was a real good machinist, one of the best I've ever seen in my life. You got Johnny West in our backyard. Just people you meet. Robert Nerez did a big influence on me because you could build all the motor you want. I had big horsepower. I always had good horsepower. Got to have a chassis. Kids, if you do this thing, you got to have a chassis. If you don't, all you're doing is running around. You got to have a car. Build a car, have fun.
So somewhere along the way, you got married.
Got married.
You have a daughter.
A beautiful daughter, Ashley. Yep.
And how did that change you?
You know, it changed me in a way that, hey, you got to be a dad. Like my father was a dad, and I still was a provider, but I still functioned to do everything I was doing. Now I did it at a higher pace before. I slowed it down a bit, but we still did a lot of racing. And then came an untimely death of my wife, and everything changed back right then.
But great memories.
Great memories. Everything I had.
We all credit her for calming you down.
She was the one that got me, because I would race anything, anywhere, anytime, and work on anything all night long. It didn't matter, you know, and still go to work. That was beat into my head when I was a kid. You're going to work, you know.
You always answered the bell.
Yep, the bell rang, I was there.
So during these times, you've had a lot of people, like we talked about, the people mentoring, and you were involved with a lot of different cars. You built cars for people, but I think, you know, some of the stories of, you know, actually going top fuel racing. And
John DePorter came to me. We put Danielle through another junior street car, super comp car, top hawk. We did all this in like 9 months. You know, the 10th month we got a fuel car in the garage, and campaigned with them for 2 years. Had a great time. You're all over the United States. You learn a lot building one with a lot of big people, because you go. The Snake shop was right across the street from our shop. Big Mac shop was right across the street from our shop. You have to live in Indy to do it right, and that's where we were at. And you meet a lot of people. Bob Brandt, great person. I worked with Frank Bradley for a bit when they first started it. Lance Larson, what a mentor, taught me enough not to blow myself up or anybody around me, because nitro will blow some parts up. But I did learn a lot, yes.
I know you've been involved with, you helped the DePorters build the Rad Cad.
Yeah.
Tell us about that car.
Well, John came to me. I was a counterman there at Lopers. He come walking in. He's like, look, I want to build a Pantera with a big Chevy. That was when the Berkey Bunch and all them guys had blown Camaros. Bill Coleman, all them had the fast cars. So I wanted, and my influence on him was like, no, we're going to build something that no one else has. If we're going to do it, we're going to go all out. So we got a 59 Cadillac, and it was a wrecking yard car. And I had a friend that had Terry Henderson had a sand drag deal, because I've been involved in that, and he was selling it. Trip Shoemaker built this car. It was aluminum Rodak, had a B&J in it, transmission. The lights come on, let's buy that car, take it apart, build a chassis, build a Bad Cat. That's kind of what we did. And we did all that in timely deal, and then put it on the burner when the fuel car came out, but I kept it going. And then I campaigned it around the West Coast doing car shows with it. And I made a couple laps in it, Speed World, illegal, of course. I didn't have a license. I didn't have a fire suit, basically. Blowing alcohol motor, just like, you know, but we had fun. That car was a lot of fun.
Turned a lot of heads.
Everybody that saw it, and you could walk to people, they go, I remember when you brought this thing out, and we had no idea what to even do with you. That was from Don Gainey. He had run the track at Firebird. He goes, we didn't know what class, what you were going to do. NHRA didn't even know what it was. And they just put on display, and they're like, we don't even know what to do. We came to race, you know.
So the honor of this year's drag race reunion, that was actually the car.
Oh yeah, the car and the T-shirt was wild. I walked up, saw black shirt with the bad cat on it, and it's the burnout I did where everybody's turning their head because I didn't know what I was doing. We just held her to the floor, you know, and it was loud, big and loud.
The car is still alive today. People in the Midwest have it.
Yeah, Jody Frederick has it in the Midwest. They are racing the car. They're still campaigning as the bad cat, still the same color, and they're having a blast with it. They really are. They even do no prep with it. They just are having a fun time.
The you've gone that route. You've helped Bob DeYoung with the Circle Track Adventures.
Circle Track, yep.
Learned a lot about that.
Yes, I did. You learn a lot, and you're with different teams and meet lots of neat people. You combine a good team together, you can conquer the world. You know, you really can.
You've built a lot of engines.
I put together a lot of engines for people, and I tell them when they come over and want to do it, we just build excitement. They like seeing a smile on their face, you know, because they go from I'm watching that guy to now I am that guy, they think, and they have a good time doing it, and we are doing a lot of them.
So you're one of the best, and even by your own admission, probably too good at it, burning the candle at both ends. You work a full-time gig,
yeah,
selling metal.
Yep, metal guy.
And then at night you're the engine guy. And Pat Man does a lot of stuff. He's had a long, great relationship with Ron May at Ramjet Speed Shop, yeah. Ramjet. Mm-hmm. And how did you and Ron meet?
So in '82, I met Ron May. I was working at Lopez. He was boat racing. He came in. He had broken an oil pump on his big block Chevrolet, and Al Cerney was building his motors, and I knew Big Al real good. And Al was busy, so I go, well, hey, let's just go to the house and fix it. So we fixed the deal. Ron goes racing that next weekend, and we did, and Ramjet racing was started right then. We just hit it off as friends, and we've been friends ever since '82.
So Ron runs one of the best, or the best stock probably speed shop in the valley,
yep.
And he's helped a lot of people out, and he does a lot of fabrication, does
yep.
a lot of work for people on their cars.
So, yeah.
No, you're still a part of that, and the excitement is still there. But we've also known you to be involved with boats with people, and there are a lot of different racers in boats.
There was drag boat races. I was born in Glendale. Julian Petgill's in Glendale, so his son and I were friends, and he was one of the best boat racers I've ever seen in my life drive a boat. And to be around him and the names like Bubby Wilton, Al Cerney, all them, you meet them all, and they're just great people. Another great group of people, boat racers. We had a lot of fun. We really did.
And then sand drags.
In the sand drag racing, I was just kicking it. We bought a car, a Swindell car. My best friend Richard Holmes buys it, and we go to Gary Kincaid, who was a Top Fuel hydro racer, the Top Gun guy. Sold all his stuff. We bought all his motors and everything, put it in a sand drag car. Now we're going to go sand drag racing. Sand drag racing consists of just put all your stuff up there. It's not research and development. It's trial and error. Okay. And we were successful in that car. We had sold it to another gentleman, John Cadzo at WSM, and he had bought a Pat Austin car. And then I got hooked up with John Alleman, Jim Green, Charlie Lowe. We put a team together, and we went out and set a bunch of records in that car. It was a very fast car, and we really had a great time in sand drag racing. But then again, nitro, I mean, it'll burn a pocketbook up. Yeah.
Drive over a lot of parts.
Oh man! But then the good thing about this, you go sand drag racing, something blows up, they run a tractor over it, the next pair go. There's no sweeping, there's no downtime, there's no water on the track, there's no nothing. Just go race.
So you like that? You fell in love with
I fell in love with that. I really did.
So you've driven a lot of cars. You've been involved in a lot of cars. What stands out in your mind as your big achievements that you're proud of? I mean, there's. It's probably hard to limit them, but there's probably a few stories.
I got the Jack Beckman story that everybody likes to hear. Dennis Gorney at Sun Country put his son in a Junior, put his son in a super car. We had a super gas car. We campaigned both of them. And we buy them from Brent Cannon over in California, and his best friend's Jack Beckman. So we meet Beckman the first time, and turned into good friends. I believe, was it 92 or 3, we got a call that Jack's looking for a ride to go to Winter Nationals. His father was going to be there. He wanted to win it. We wanted to go do it. We had a spare car, so we loaned him a car. So I put a car together, put him in it, and we went. And with his driving and his skill, we won that race. And everybody got a Wally. And that was Jack's first Wally.
He's got 34 of them.
He's got 30. Yeah. And we remain friends. I always remind him when I see him, hey man, who got your first walleye for you? And he says, I did. I go, I was there with you, buddy. But that was a good accomplishment. And to be friends with them still is pretty nice.
I ran into him a couple years ago and asked him about it, and he goes, he just lit up.
Yep.
That was the best time. Talks about racing through the adversity of a fuel leak and this.
Oh yeah, we had it all going, everything stacked against us, so we piled through it, you know, and that was good. It was a good deal. And then like being with Dennis, everybody, Bob Ricevich, Joe the plumber, we all stand in there and, you know, get a walleye. It was big time at the Winter Nationals because you always see it in the stands. Now I am doing it, so it's pretty cool.
So through your journey, because you're not finished yet, we still keep you busy.
Yeah.
Who stands out? You know, John Loper's big in your life. Who else is along the way that you would like to you'd like to remember? These, you know, you can't. I'm not sure it'd be a hard time naming everybody, but
yeah. Well, this is a tough question because I had met you when I was about 15. I met Chris Thompson at the Service Center. I met Bob DeYoung, who was just a great person. He was at the time leaving Chuck's, I believe. Bob Ream, Jimmy Basco, Robert Nerez. But Chris, I got to hand it to you. You turned me into a counterman, and then turned me into a salesman, and turned me into doing something with the drive to keep doing. And that's why I'm at 20 years at the steel yard today, because I just have the drive to keep doing it. So you have a big instrumental part in what I've done. Pretty giant.
Thank you. I remember the one day you weren't having a good day and you quit.
I ran home to Mom, you know, like little kids do, and I'm done. And he calls my mom, and they had a conversation. She got off the phone and says, "You're going back to work." And I drove my truck back to work, and it was done. But I just, you know, when you pile a lot on at a young age, you don't know what to expect because I never knew.
And I didn't realize how young you really were.
Yeah, no one had that idea. They thought because like I say, I drove around with no license for a year.
Basically, remember telling you can't quit. Get back in there.
And I jumped back in the fire and stayed in it since. I worked at that service center for quite some years, and in '82 went to work for John Loper and successful there. Ended up running one of his new stores for him, and as time evolved, I parted ways on a good note and went racing again, and that's what happened.
So over the years, you've had some great jobs, some great experiences.
Oh yeah.
In your life now, you've got a great partner.
Linda really has been behind me for the last 12 years and supports everything from my crazy motorcycle escapades to going racing spare of the moment. Like next week I'm going, it's Mother's Day, yeah, I know I'll be back. And she's been there. Linda's been a big instrumental part in keeping me motivated to do it, where I don't want to say, oh, I don't want to go, or nope, you're done. Here's your bag, see you later. Your room's paperwork, goodbye.
You've been very lucky to somebody like that.
Very fortunate, very fortunate.
What haven't you achieved that you'd like to achieve?
You know, there's still more in me to help people. I think the help part, I got to that point. I met a kid that was buying an engine for a streetcar, Ryan Jacobson, and we clicked as friends, and he went 100% into it, went 1,000% into the street motor deal, so we pulled it together, and then he comes to me about a year ago and goes, hey, I want to build a supercomp car. I'm like, okay, where'd that come from? But all right, let's do this. So we took that street motor in 21 days, built a supercomp car, and got it done in 21 days, put him on the track. He's got an 880 car that he has a blast in. So helping people doing that really enlightens what I do. Chris has a blown alcohol car that I enjoy. We do run it occasionally. We're having fun with it. It's a car. They eat money. We have a great time putting everybody together. We can run some big numbers. It's got all the stuff that wiggles on it and makes noise and vibrates, so it's a lot of fun. So that keeps me going. But the thing I'd like to do the best, and I'd love to see the best, is the drag racing, the new generation. It really, to see the new kids. And Chris will attest this, I'll go to a race and be lost for a while because I'll just go up and watch them. You know, and they got to evolve small to get big. That's the only way you're going to do it. And us as legends or us as Hall of Famers or whatever, we have to keep that going. And that's the only way it's going to keep going. And Victoria hit the point where they'll go a little bit and then stop. Where are they? You keep them into it and go. And their life's going to go on, don't get me wrong. But if you could put a part of drag racing into it It'll make him a better person. It'll be a better businessman. I know there'll be a better husband, a better friend. The life will go on.
So I know where your heart is. I know where your passion is. I would invite anybody that I see you at the races that don't know you to walk up and introduce themselves to you, because they're going to find somebody that's very gracious and excited for what they're doing. I appreciate everything that you've done in racing. You've been a big part of racing life, my life, and there's nobody that I've been more honored to interview than my friend Pat Sardina. Pat, in many people's mind, it's not mine. You are definitely an Arizona drag racing legend. We appreciate you being here today.
Well, thank you. Thank you, all of you.